yourself a drink and some snacks to start chilling with Ken and Cosmo. You are now listening to Tune In and Chill.
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Cosmo.
And my name is Ken, and you're listening to Tune In and Chill.
Today's topic is all about YouTube.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
So exciting!
So, YouTube in 2020. Trends.
Trends, yes, trends. So, trends in YouTube. You know what, though? I was actually looking at, you know how you can look at the trending, depending on what country you are in with YouTube. You can go on your trending page and it'll show you what's trending on within your country. And then every time I look at trends, it's like one day of music videos.
Yeah.
Because music videos come out like every single day, apparently. And then it's either music videos, trailers, or some reality type of YouTube channel. And that's all that's trending. So I don't know. And the categories aren't too broad. You have like music, politics, or news, I think it was.
Yeah, news and politics are always up there.
Yeah, and then some other ones. But I wish they had more categories. That's what I think. That's where I think they can kind of go on that. But yeah, that trends, I just see those. Just wanted to talk about that because we're talking about trends. But yeah.
So we're halfway, or a little bit past halfway through 2020. What do you think the trend's going to be for YouTube videos for the rest of the year and going into 2021?
I don't actually think it's going to change too much. I think the only thing that are going to change as far as trend wise is how the production is going to be for even beginner YouTubers, because of the fact that a lot of YouTubers currently are upping their game in their video production, their sound quality, their lighting, and everything like that. So I think everything is just going to look more professional as the years go on, and that's just going to carry on. So I think it also kind of gives off a little bit of the wrong message to some people that are starting out, because you don't really need fancy equipment to start. But having said that, it's kind of like visual peer pressure that people are putting on YouTube without them actually knowing that they're doing that. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a trend that's going to start, is just production quality is going to increase.
No, I agree. Like if the more beginner YouTubers you see, you know, the more you see people buying like soft boxes, like even the one I have right there. You know, people going out buying microphones, buying lights for sure.
Yeah. Like even for me, like building this type of like, vocal booth
Yeah.
was kind of like, you don't really need to do it. You can have echo audio background, and that may be the case before, but now that audio quality is getting better and like people are sounding less echoey in their audio and stuff like that, I feel like you kind of have to do it. And I kind of am a victim of falling into that type of peer pressure myself. So
I'm a sucker for things that look really good. Like trying to have the best picture, that you can. So it's like, it's not for me, it's more of a want. You don't need it, but at the same time, I'm just like, but I want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I hate it. It's like you see something shiny and new. It's like, but I want it.
Yeah, exactly. And you want the newest and greatest stuff.
I think we also saw, like, because of the whole pandemic, there's a lot of people that were stuck indoors. I think there was an explosion of like new people starting, YouTube channels, or even a lot of people started TikTok, Instagrams, because people are just literally bored out of their minds. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's true. And I think a lot of people have, well, that's the only thing though. I think during this whole pandemic, a lot of people have started, but yet a lot of people have quit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's just like they quit like a bad New Year's resolution.
Oh, I've
It's
been there.
like they've oh yeah, exactly, right? Except most people it kind of refers to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I think everyone kind of dropped it because of the fact that they didn't realize how much work it took. And a lot of people just thought, oh, I could just film myself and not have to edit and do anything too fancy. But then they don't see the results happening. And I think they just get turned off by it. So, although a lot of people did start, there is still opportunity on YouTube to grow because of the fact that a lot of people just quit. So,
That
yeah.
that and I can't remember which YouTuber I was watching, but he brought up a really good point. It
Mm.
may have been Matty Hapoya, I can't remember. But if you go around the street and you look on a block and there's a new burger place opening up, you look a few blocks down, there's another burger spot. There are hundreds and thousands of burger places. And essentially they're selling the same thing. It's just a burger. It's their own spin on it. So it's the same thing with
Yeah.
the YouTube channel. Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the same channels, but it's putting your personality, your flavor on it, and that's what makes the difference. So
Yeah.
I still think there's definitely a chance to make it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think just kind of elaborating on that point, there's a lot of different ways to sell a product. And that's essentially kind of what we're doing, minus the fact that we're getting money for it. We're providing a type of service, whether it's a tutorial or just giving out information. But having said that, it's I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't really do the due diligence to do their own research and to find what they are good at. I think it's kind of like copycatting almost, because you watch so many videos of like how to edit and stuff like that, and you kind of tend to fall towards that person's style, but then you don't really notice that you are just kind of copying them. And I see a lot of people just start up and in the comments alone, they're like, oh, this kind of looks like another Peter McKinnon knockoff. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a lot of people are struggling to find their style. So that's why, and then they get these negative comments and they kind of drop out of the whole thing. But whether you take that as a negative thing, as constructive criticism towards yourself personally, or you use that to fuel a fire that's going to improve your future videos. So.
I think in the beginning, I don't think straight up copying is the way to go, but starting off being influenced by the stuff you like is one way just to get started. And then as you keep working at it, it's like, okay, I've figured out a style that I like. How can I make it my own?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. For sure. I feel like I'm still struggling to find like my, I don't know, like style, I guess. I feel like even through my B-roll sessions and stuff, it does look like everyone. Like at a point, it's gonna start to look like other people, just because there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But it can be changed depending on whether you do like, even if you so for example, since we're talking about B-rolls and stuff right now, it's kind of like, for example, if you are taking a B-roll of products. So you kind of specialize in product photography, product videos, so you're doing that type of B-roll. Or you're kind of more into the whole landscape side of things, where you're taking B-rolls of like nature and that kind of stuff. Just a few examples of how to change it up. Or you do B-rolls of weddings. You might do weddings. And I was actually thinking of one idea was, I think it was Film Riot that I saw. He was doing a real estate. I think it was real estate, right? I forgot who it was. Who's the main guy on that channel again?
For Matty Hapoya?
No, sorry. Film Riot.
Oh, that's Ryan Connolly.
Yeah, Ryan Connolly. I think it was him. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, there's like a real estate YouTube video that I watched, and basically what ended up happening was he does a lot of real estate videos, and you know how real estate videos are very common in terms of like you just kind of push with your gimbal
Yeah.
and into a room or something, and then you have like your 14 mil or 12 mil focal length lens, and then you kind of like pan into the room. So I think he started or someone else started to include B-roll type of sequences, which is basically adding transitions to those clips.
Mhm.
And it kind of made it more, I wouldn't say cinematic, but it made it more fun to watch a real estate video, other than just the fact that it's just hard cuts in between different rooms. So it just made it more interesting. So I think that's a different niche that people might get into.
I know there's a few guys who are doing that, like Make Art Now, Josh Yo. He's doing a lot of real estate stuff. And then
Yeah.
there's I think Peter Wahlberg was his name. He's doing stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I think it was that guy, Peter Wahlberg.
I don't think
But yeah.
I don't think it was Film Right, to be honest.
Yeah. I might be
Ryan's
mistaken on that.
I think Ryan's doing more of like the film stuff, like movie, like he was doing a lot of music videos and like short films.
Oh, right.
He's doing tutorials.
Yeah. My bad.
I think you're thinking Peter I'm just totally blanking out the name. I just said it.
I can't fucking
Peter Wahlberg.
like Peter Wahlberg.
I think that's how you
Is
say
it
it.
Peter Wahlberg? I don't know. Anyways,
Well, fact check below.
sorry if we got your name wrong. I literally subscribe to a lot of people on YouTube, and I watch their videos constantly and to get inspiration and stuff like that. But I constantly just get mixed up with so many names.
Yeah,
Did you find
Peter
it?
Wahlbeck.
Peter
Parker Wahlbeck.
Oh,
I can't.
you still got it wrong, and you looked.
I
it
was
up.
literally reading it and then still got it wrong.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
There is another guy named Peter Wahlberg, but I don't. That's what we're talking about. There's Parker Wahlbeck.
Parker Wahlbeck
From Full Time Filmmaker.
Yes, full-time filmmaker. Shout out to full-time filmmaker. Oh my god, that was so embarrassing. I hope they're not watching. Okay.
I was literally reading it off the name wrong, like literally reading.
Yeah. Okay, that makes me feel a little better actually. What is the? Let's give our listeners some resources for helpful YouTube, I guess, kind of improvements that they can do to their channels, if they are starting to think of starting one at all.
Well, I think there's lots and lots of channels out there right now.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the big, like the ones that I started off with way back in the day when I was, really into it is I think Film Riot. Back, what is it, 2010, 2011, 2012 is when I was watching them. Like they go way back. Film Riot, they've got lots of good stuff. Indie Mogul was another one. Indie Mogul is really good. Indie Mogul is doing a lot of like they have the Aperture's old host, and he's really good with lighting. So they got some really good lighting tutorials. I had a train of thought and I just blanked out.
That is too funny. I was like,
okay.
I was like literally watching you, and then all of a sudden, I thought the actual phone like froze for a second.
Okay, so again, there's lots of different resources. You got Film Right for learning the basics of filmmaking. You've got Indie Mogul. They used to do a lot of DIY stuff, just like Film Riot. Then you've got got Peter McKinnon. He's teaching you how to get cool shots, a lot of like Instagram shots and video and film. You've got Maddie Hipoya. You've got Parker. I almost said Peter again. Parker teaching you how to do real estate. Yeah. Like I think there's just so many YouTubers.
Yeah, and then we'll make sure to link some of these resources in our description of our video here.
If we were sponsored
And
by Skillshare, this would be the perfect segment in, but we're not.
oh, I know. Anyone, just anyone. We're not begging, but anyone can please sponsor us. Um, Also, I think in regards to resources, there's different types that you can kind of go through in terms of like there are channels where you can go to if you want to know how to set up your own kind of talking headshot with your whatever background that you want to work with. Um, I think it was like Becky and Chris
Becky and Chris, yeah, where they do the DIY
who do
background.
yeah a lot of DIY stuff. I think that is pretty good to watch if you want to get a little bit of inspiration for home improvement and design. Also for audio, who was it that's really good in audio? I recently watched this video. Why can I not think of these names? Oh, Curtis Judd, I
Oh
think
yeah,
was
yeah,
his name.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's really good for audio. And then you got guys that do color grading. So I think for what was it, Resolve?
DaVinci
Um,
Resolve, yeah.
yeah, DaVinci Resolve. If you use that software, you can go watch either Gerald Undone. I think he does a lot of like proper grading, I guess,
Yeah,
with
he's got a
the
pretty in-depth.
super in depth, almost like, yeah, like way too nerdy for me. But I think for some people, if they really want to know in depth, then that I think there's also Quasi that you said.
Yeah, so yeah, Quasi. What I like about Quasi is yeah, he's able to go from like the start picture to a finished product, and
Mm.
he does it in a way where it's you're watching, it's like, wow, that's so cool, I want to do that. So in his videos, he makes it looks really easy, and then he try to follow
Yeah.
along, and he's going really fast.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I'm
That's
like,
what I found.
and as a beginner from DaVinci Resolve in color grading, I'm like, okay, pause, rewind. What did he click?
Yep. Yeah. The only thing with watching him, I feel like if you want to learn color grading as a profession, um, and yes, there is such thing for the listeners. Color grading is a profession. They hire like freelancers, I believe, for color grading some films. Um, but having said that, he Quasi goes really in depth on some of his videos that I saw, and I feel like it's a little bit overboard for YouTube for some of it. But learning the basics is, I think, good for Resolve wise.
I think if you're trying to do like B-roll segments or like short film stuff, I think it's amazing. And
Hmm.
for the YouTubes, like the talking head stuff, what Quasi can, one thing that you'd really good to know is how to balance the skin tone, get your white balance right, so we look proper.
That's something I
Like
have
that's
really bad. I have horrible taste in like skin tone coloring.
like honestly, I am absolutely no expert in color grading, let alone color balancing. So
Yeah, no, I saw a video. I keep honestly, I keep forgetting who it is. So I'm sorry for anyone who's listening, but I can't really resource this too well. But I saw a video recently about Resolve and how in one clip you can change the color of certain things in Resolve. So, like, for example, I think it was like a scene of a bus, and this guy, he literally changed the color of the bus multiple times and still kept the background and everything the same.
yeah.
And I thought that was like amazing. Like, the masking, I guess, is just really good on Resolve compared to any other programs out there.
I think you can still do that in After Effects. I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
can. I know what you're talking about. I was watching a different video where the guy did it with it was on a bus, but they were the yellow big posts. So he like changed it. So I think what the cool thing about DaVinci was, he DaVinci uses a node system versus like the layer system that After Effects uses. So he made it like a universal node. So you're working in one clip, but that node, because it's universal, it's affecting You can paste it on other clips, and whatever change you do to that one node, it affects all the clips that are linked with
Yeah.
that one, which is crazy.
Right.
I don't know if After Effects can do that, but I know you can do the masking in After Effects, but I just don't know if you can do the universal clip stuff. I don't
I,
think so.
yeah. I feel like the one thing I kind of, this is like a hate and hate, oh sorry, I can't really say that. It's a love-hate relationship with Resolve is that node system that you're talking about. And you know how in Resolve it's kind of like a web diagram,
Yeah.
and that to me is a little bit confusing
Oh, me too.
if it gets too much, but I feel like it is also intuitive to where you can move things around freely without having to just be stuck on one system of layers where you can only go up and down with certain things.
I,
And yeah, that's my take on it.
I think once you learn it, I think it's incredibly powerful. But
Yeah.
as a newcomer, going from a layer system to that, it's just like, what's going on?
Yeah. Honestly, if you are starting out using an editing software and if you have like either Premiere is a good learning point, I think. It may look a little confusing, but for people who are already in the Adobe ecosystem, a lot of things look familiar.
Oh yeah.
Especially the layout. If you own a Mac, I would use Final Cut Pro. Some people can use iMovie, but obviously there are limitations for that. But if you're just doing really simple edits to your videos, like skateboarding videos or something like that, that you just want to show to your friends.
I mean, starting out,
Yeah.
why not? It's free.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then if you decide to get into this more and more, you can pay for whichever subscription model or the one-time payout model for either DaVinci or Final Cut.
Or DaVinci has a free version as well for Mac and PC.
Free version.
Like it does.
Free
It
version.
honestly doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, the free version, you just have some restrictions with OpenFX or something like that, or like some kind of
Yeah, you don't have all the
video
plugins.
effects?
Yeah, you don't get all the plugins available, and I don't think you can export higher than a certain resolution. So like the 4K stuff, you can't export. I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think you're stuck in 1080p, which right now for me is okay. I'm still trying out the free version.
1080 is, quite relevant still.
1080p is still the de facto standard for publishing stuff, but
Yeah.
slowly it's going to be 4K.
And then we're going to get to like 8K, and by that time we're going to have to freaking all fork up some couple $1,000s to buy new computers.
Yep.
I swear to God, they're like making this little group to make people spend more money. They're literally, all these billionaires are having like a meeting and every year and saying, what's the next way that we can all collaborate to squeeze money out of our own citizens?
If only we could just print money, then I wouldn't mind at all.
Yeah, or have a money tree. I'd be happy with that too.
I'm not even gonna lie. I legitimately thought money grew on trees after seeing those stupid money tree commercials. And I literally went, I was like, wow, it's so easy. See, you can just grab. It hit me pretty hard when I realized that was fake.
Yeah, just like when Santa, doesn't actually exist. Yeah.
What do you mean he doesn't exist? How dare you?
Yeah, there are a couple tough pills to swallow for sure when you're growing up. What is helping people grow on YouTube today, and some of the, I guess, tips or insights that we can give, which is, if you are taking advice from us, I think is not too, let's say we don't have too much of a backup because we're both starting out YouTube.
I was just, we're at this point, we're really just making assumptions.
Yeah. At this point, we are making assumptions off of what we've been seeing online and what we've researched and what anyone can literally just type in Google and search.
I think one of the big things that are helping like small YouTubers grow is collaborations with bigger YouTubers.
I saw that. Yes, that is
like that's definitely giving them a boost. A little they beam a spotlight on them. So people start watching the content and they're like, oh, well, hey.
Yeah, and just like how we did a collaboration with our Instagram Reels challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
That is something that, I mean, we did it halfway across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would be nice to do collaborations in person, but given your circumstances and given social distancing nowadays, even if you are living in the same city, if you want to practice that, then I think it's still possible to do. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I think the really cool thing about the collaborations is you have two different pools of viewers, and now as soon as you collab, now you're allowing both of them to see what's going on. So you've got
Yeah.
access to two pools.
Yeah, and you can kind of direct traffic to both of their channels in a sense. So I think that's also a good way to kind of share subscribers, like you just mentioned.
And I think the other cool, well, I guess it's kind of hard now because we can't actually physically do it, but learn, learn how people do things differently.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a huge thing too.
Yeah,
And you make a friend on the way.
and yeah, exactly. So you can learn different things. You can also just whether it's learning from them directly or learning from their own style that they have on YouTube. I think that's also helpful as well. Um, Other things that people can do to grow on YouTube is, I guess, know your audience. And the best way to do that, I think, is to do a lot of research. Like for me, I did a lot of research for photography, videography, and what is the audience that's going to be watching it. And, I've suspected, oh, if it's going to be photography and videography related, then it's going to be mostly people who are into that. But also, I was almost thinking that it's going to be people who are already in profession of that. So I got kind of, eh, like in a sense, like a little nervous because I was like, oh, like, what if I don't say the right things? Like, what if I'm not actually providing the right facts?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be like fact checkers out there. And so you got to do your research and then to be able to get the facts straight. And then you present it. And some people who's watching your channel, if you're trying to go for the niche people of beginners, if you're doing like a how to or some type of niche that involves a certain profession, then I would say, you can either target the beginners. So these are the people that don't know anything. And then you can kind of gradually move up to being more advanced as you learn yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but otherwise, I think there's obviously other ways to help grow on YouTube as well, like what is it, vidIQ or TubeBuddy? I think those are two like kind of plugins that you can download.
I have vidIQ. I haven't tried TubeBuddy, but I'm using vidIQ.
I have both, and it gets super annoying because whenever I watch a YouTube video, it's like there's, you know how you have suggested videos on the
Yeah.
side? Well, my suggested video is like halfway down the page because all these plugins are covering the first like half of the right-hand side column.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's nice to know like you can see other people's analytics in a sense. You can see how many total views they have on their channel. You can see how many views that they have currently or like certain tags that they use for that video.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think I don't have too many other like helpful growing things other than like those tools that you can use. Obviously there's a lot of different other ways to grow.
I think the last thing and probably the most important thing is uploading consistently.
Yeah, that is also.
I think that's the issue I've been having. So I'd post a video and then it'd be like weeks, months, years. It's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna build an audience if you're not gonna upload consistently.
Yeah,
First-
and also, if you don't upload consistent, like let's say you do start uploading once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week. Which, by the way, if anyone is doing 3 times a week, you will soon find out that's a little overkill if you have no one to edit for you. Um, but twice a week is still, for me, it's like a good pace to keep me kind of going. But if you do that consistently and then all of a sudden you take a month break, YouTube is not really like a fan of people taking breaks, because that just means for them they're losing that traffic for people to watch. So yeah, that's another thing.
I was just gonna
Uh,
say, the 2 videos a week for you right now, that's doable, is you're doing this pretty much full time.
Full time. I've literally just stopped like the importing exporting business. Well, not really stopped completely, but obviously with this whole pandemic and everything that's going on, it slowed down the import export industry
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
bit
of course.
since. So I had some time on my hands, and I just thought maybe doing YouTube for my own personal channel, and then now obviously doing this podcast. Um, One, it keeps me busy. Two, it is something that I can start growing now while I have time, because a lot of people don't have time, and I think that's what also slows people down, is not putting their full time into like YouTube. Because YouTube is like, if you want to make a career out of YouTube and be one of those people that are getting paid from AdSense and sponsorships and affiliate links and all these different types of revenue streams, you got to be full time. Otherwise, um, you're just not gonna make it. It's just that kind of simple, because Do Perfect is one of the YouTube channels, and then I watched their documentary. I don't know if you saw it,
No, I haven't seen it.
but it was like a 2-hour documentary, and basically they were saying that at one point Do Perfect was on the verge of quitting, and it was at that point when everyone just, I guess they were just teenagers at the time. And then once they got married and stuff, everyone moved to different parts of the States. And they never really got a chance to collaborate back again. So they had to make a decision right then and there whether they're going to keep continuing to do YouTube,
Mm,
and committing to actually getting an office and everyone kind of moving their families closer together so they can, all meet at the office and film, or they're just going to go live their separate lives and move on. And then obviously they're continuing it. So that's something that, and then I think it was like Ty, he went to his wife and said like, "Oh, I'm quitting my job," and then the wife was very supportive. So, but like, it's kind of a decision where it's like, oh, like you actually do have to quit your job if you are wanting to go that route eventually. You don't need to quit your job like right when you start YouTube, but at that point when you start getting sponsorships and partnerships, collaborations, and people start depending on you to do it, and you're getting paid for that work, that's when you start to think about whether you should quit your full-time job now that you're doing.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully that comes the case for me and maybe you. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Ideally, I'd like to go full steam ahead at one point.
yeah. That
Once the snowball gets big enough, you know.
Yeah. So how is it for you in terms of like, I'm sure some of the listeners and viewers might want to know like, um, what are your struggles in terms of keeping a YouTube channel going while having a full-time job as well?
I think I think the biggest thing is time, literally. So if you're doing the 9 to 5, so Monday to Friday, so there goes your entire week for a pretty good portion of the day. So then you're left with 5, roughly midnight-ish or something. You still got to sleep, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that gives you a few hours. It's just a matter of, after a long day, you're tired. You're like, okay, now I got to come up with something. I need to come up with an idea. I got to shoot it, execute, film, and then edit it.
Yeah.
So, and the other hard part is, let's say you want to go shoot something, like you don't have enough time to go to the spot to do it. Like if it's outside,
Mm.
Like if you had all day, you know what, you can drive up, you know, an hour or two drive where there's not so many people, get a nice location, set up your camera. In this case, it's like, okay, time is everything. It's like, so everything's got to be planned out. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
sun's gonna go down, you know, at 7 o'clock. I've got an hour and a half to get there, set up, figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And then for some reason, all your videos end up like nighttime shoots.
Yeah, exactly. And everything will end up at nighttime.
Yeah. But I think if some people are having that struggle, to be able to kind of get around that, how you're shooting always in the evening time because you get off at 6 or 5 or whatever, um, to kind of shoot some stuff on the weekend as well, and then start scheduling posts that are a little bit, differently.
Yeah, for
So you kind
sure.
of get that nighttime, daytime, or daytime type of stuff. But yeah, no, that's definitely a struggle. And I can't really imagine doing a full time job right now and doing what I am doing right now with YouTube and this podcast
And like
for sure.
what people don't really realize is editing is more work than just filming.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's not as simple as just drag and drop and you're done.
No, definitely not. And like, I think we all learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
I think most of us learn it the hard way, where you're just like, oh yeah, I'll just film for an hour, and then you just come to realize like, how am I gonna make this hour clip down to like 10, 15 minutes? Because
I,
you don't want an hour of you rambling on like for a regular YouTube video, other than the podcast.
I think my favorite mistake that everyone's made at some point is don't worry, we'll fix it in post. Trust me, it is not fun trying to fix something in post.
No,
If you can,
definitely
get it
not.
right in camera the first go, because it is a pain to do it in post.
Yeah, especially like when it comes to correcting color and stuff or exposures and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty. And I think, again, that's kind of like going back to how we were talking about just expectations of videos are just that much higher now.
Yeah,
And the more that people like, I don't think this goes for like, for the example of, let's say, like video quality, right? Like if you're watching anything in like 420p resolution, well, that's like horrible. But you just got to remember, like back in the 90s and stuff, that's all we had.
yeah.
But then now that we came to 1080, that was like the 4K of back then. And then now we have 4K, and then so on and so forth. As quality gets better in the technology field, we have to adapt to it, which makes everyone's expectation that much higher. So I think that's also tough as well when it comes to like producing something. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough with everything. There's so many factors to boggle your mind enough for anyone to quit. And um, I think that's also a good thing and a bad thing in a sense, because it really, um, I guess, either you get to know your limits, or you have to know when to say to quit
Yeah.
and just kind of move on with your life type of thing. But YouTube is not for everyone. But if you just want to document your life so you have record of it, then that's also fine. If you care like nothing about actually trying to monetize and do everything, and you just want to post stuff for posting's sake, then yeah, I say go for it.
I mean, eh, other than the monetization part, I think there's a lot of people out there that want to do it just for the art of like storytelling, filming.
Mm.
Okay, that's why I kind of want to do it.
Yeah,
That's for me. For me, it's just it's the storytelling aspect of it.
yeah,
And
for
yes,
sure.
the monetization is great, but
Yeah,
ideally, I'd love people to get a good story out there.
yeah, for sure.
A good
And I
story,
think,
yeah,
yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree with you, and it's also the fact of speaking of monetization, is people get caught up in that
yeah,
statistics and monetization and stuff like that. Like having TubeBuddy and vidIQ for statistics wise for your channel and everything, I think that's good. Um, so you can know how to plan for your next video and stuff like that. But it's also a bad thing in a sense, because you're constantly looking at numbers and it cannot be healthy for you.
Yeah.
So there needs to be that kind of break. And I think it's good for us to have like even a podcast like this that we can just almost ramble on whatever issues or current events or anything like that, to be able to get away from that stuff. Because honestly, for this podcast, we're doing it because we like to talk and we like to tell stories. And we care almost nothing about getting this thing monetized or anything like that. It's just mostly about getting to talk about different things other than what we chose our niche to be. And that can be stressful if you're just doing that one channel.
Yeah. And
yeah, no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that talking about things is one of my favorite things to talk about is gear.
Yeah, gear for sure. Okay.
No, go ahead.
No,
This is one of the things that we're since there's a little bit of that input lag, so we're talking to each other, and it's just like it's like, go on.
Yeah. No, gear. Also, I think gear is another thing. Just like anything else, where people get caught up in, because obviously with cameras getting more technologically advanced, people think that they have to get the latest and greatest, but yet people have, I think more people upgrade their phones, and more religiously upgraded actually, than camera gear alone. So your camera on your phone is actually really good with the 4K. I think they have 4K 60. I know the Vivo phone has, I think, 960 frames per second slow-mo.
Like,
yeah, no, go ahead.
Honestly, the phones of today can do some pretty amazing stuff compared to even just a few years ago. Like,
Yeah,
you can
for sure.
literally shoot an entire, short little film on an iPhone, and then you can go ahead and edit it
Yeah,
and then post literally just all from your phone.
yeah,
Like, that's pretty
for sure.
insane.
And I think there was an option where you can actually take your phone and you can have an HDMI like dongle,
Mhm.
and then you can plug it directly into your computer, so you can have it like fully shown on your computer and have a bigger screen to like edit stuff if you really want to. And if you don't have a laptop that can power through these type of projects, then if that's all you have is a phone, then that's something of an option that you can do for editing as well.
I think it's a great starting point.
I think so. I think it's way better than what we started off with, and a lot of people back in the day when YouTube was just starting out as well. So phones, I don't know. I shoot with an iPhone 7S still with some of my videos that I shot, and that still works out somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't limit everything to technology and having good gear. Obviously, good gear is nice to have, but if you don't have the money to fork up, then just use what you have.
Although
But
I think some of us, myself included, are guilty of, it's something shiny. I want it.
I know, right? When it comes to like Boxing Day sales or Black Friday sales, and you're like, oh man,
It's like, do I
50% off, that
need it?
sounds good.
No, but it's nice.
It's nice to have, like even if it sits on my shelf and it covers in dust and whatever, I'll eventually use it one day.
Yeah, exactly. Trust me, I've got a lot of things where I'll use it one day. I've said that.
Almost to the point where you hoard stuff and you can actually like start selling them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Garage sale.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to actually ask you is, what is one gear that you think is like that you regret getting?
That I regret getting?
Yeah, like can you think of anything? I'm probably sure everything that you have in your shelves back there copping dust is a regret.
Yeah, pretty much.
got about $10,000 of regrets for you.
Yeah. It's like, where do you want me to start? Let's see here. Well, for one, this. Oh, the cap fell off. This is it's one of those Canon EF mounts to Sony E mounts, and
Yeah.
I got it because I still had Sony or Canon glass, and I didn't want to fully like spend all that money to switch over to Sony, so I thought this would be like a great way to switch over. Now I absolutely hate when I put this end onto the Sony and I turn it, all I hear is this grinding sound. It's like, and it just doesn't feel good. And I get so paranoid I'm just breaking it. I literally only used it a few times, and that was it. If I really need it, I'll use it, but I try my best to avoid it. I just don't like the feeling of putting this in. And the other thing is, this is the electronic version that allows autofocus to work with the camera. It's not good. It's very slow. It's like zzz, 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 zzz. So it's not really usable.
That's not good.
But if you really need it and you need to adapt a Canon lens, it does work. It's just and the reason why I say I regret it is I just hate putting it on, so I don't use it that often because I'm scared of breaking the connectors.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is great.
I can see that for sure. Honestly, for me, I do have one. I don't know where it is. Oh, I regret buying it so much. It's in storage. But basically, I bought a Feiyutech G6 Plus or G6 Max. I forgot what the actual name was. But anyways, it's a gimbal for a compact camera or mirrorless camera. But I regret it because it said the payload was pretty good on it, and then up until I put my camera on it, and then I stacked my Sigma 16mm lens, and then it went nose heavy and could not get that thing to balance. So I literally did all my research, thought I made the right purchase, got it. First night I balanced it, didn't work, and then I ordered the Ronin S. So now I have this gimbal, which I'm planning on either giving it away or selling it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I might give it away on my actual channel or something, but we'll see. We'll see what happens to that. But that is my biggest regret for gear. Well, I think we could talk about gear pretty much all day. I don't think our listeners will listen to us ramble on any longer. It's been, I think, quite a long time now. So, yeah, and I have to go get groceries. So I need to go. Cosmo, I don't know what you're going to do, but you can do whatever you want. You probably need to edit this after anyways. So, yeah.
If you're watching us on YouTube and you like the video, please hit that notification bell, give us a like, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button and give us a review. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.